Give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So for bar mitzvah, for the women, men and women in a Jewish culture, I think the positive things about that are for that men in a culture that has become very nominal. I would say that it's great to have a thing that the men are feel like the boys can become men and that they're drawn into a culture of religion that they're like they can claim that they want to be part of as well. For women is that this is a right for them to come into kind of a womanhood, and I think that's really important to distinguish a Jewish culture compared to every other religion or false religion out there compared to Jewish culture. And I would say the positive thing about bringing it into a church, it may not have the same bar mitzvah name, but I think having that context for men and women to come into the church, knowing that there is a standard that they're being called to first, but then also that parents are being called to that standard as well. And I think that if you combine those two together and keep them accountable, I think that that's going to allow the boys and girls to feel like they have ownership of their faith. Not they're not going off their parents' faith, but they're going off of the faith that they've been taught and that they love, and they love the Lord, and they'll pursue that, and they'll want to teach their kids. They'll want to teach their friends because it's becoming a community thing. So
All right, so I think it's the strength of the bar mitzvah is that they are start to realize that they are the responsible for their own spiritual life, and then responsible of being the members of the house to carrying by their family name, and they have more responsibility for their own life and also for the family. I think this can be a good practice for them to prepare to be an adult. Many of teenagers are treated like a child, and they are not trained to be an adult. But since when they turn to 20s, they are usually get confused. They suddenly treated as an adult. So I this practice can be a really a strength um, in the culture, and also in the Christian church, this will be a good um, ceremony to promise to God that they will, the parents promise to God that they will devote in the children's spiritual life, because I think many parents were do not care about their kids' spiritual life and toss that responsibility to the church. But in this case, they need to sign and read the covenant that they will raise their kids in God. So as a parents, they will know their responsibility of the child's spiritual life, but also for the kid will also that they know that they are independent figure in front of God.
I believe rites and ceremonies like bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah or a quinceañera can be good. For example, I think for Jewish people, Jewish families who use a ceremony like a bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, they can use it as a mark of a girl or a boy's growth, responsibilities, and maturity. I think that it can be a good thing for Christian families to start having rites or ceremonies like that because of a list of good reasons. For example, it can remind a child that we have the faith in Jesus Christ. And second, it can bring honors to the family and friends and the church. Also, it can help the child to receive blessings at this one ceremony from their family members or friends or spiritual, especially their spiritual role models. And also, I think it can encourage or motivate a young person to take their faith seriously. But also, yes, if we'll have a lot of things to think of. For example, we want to be careful now to idolize or worship the rites or the man-made traditions. And also, I did some online research and I found out that maybe we need to think of the age difference of a boy or a girl.
Some of the strengths of a Jewish bat mitzvah are also freedom and responsibilities. they'll know that they have more freedom of what they can do, but at the same time, they should know the responsibility of their actions. So also their parents and community would treat them as a young adult. It doesn't mean that they are putting their hands off of their children, but have responsibility to teach them how to behave like adults, in the society. So if we as a Christian church and parents create if we create a Christian bat mitzvah for boys and girls, I see more benefits from it. They are now stepping up to learn who they are and to be more responsible of what they do before God. And we, once again, as a church and parents, are more responsible to teach and guide them so that they can make a godly decision in their lives. And I have a daughter who's turning 12 in 10 days. And I'm thinking, I know what, I need to do for her, but mitzvah.
For Jewish families, I think some strengths of a bar bat mitzvah would first be that these kids are now being recognized as functioning young men and women in society with real responsibilities. And so by parents having that high expectation from the very beginning, saying when you turn 13, this is what is expected of you, they are raising more mature young adults, which we don't see too much of today. And I think that's a real strength. And I also think specifically in the family, it develops or communicates a level of trust and pride that the parents have in their kids, that they've raised these mature young adults who are now ready to take what they've learned and go out into the real world. So I think it strengthens that parent-child relationship. And I think if churches were to create a Christian version of this today, it would follow those same strengths. We have teens today who say, I wish my parents would stop treating me like a kid. They want to be adults. And so by setting the standard early and saying this is what is expected of you, you're giving these kids purpose. You're giving them a real role to live up to mature quicker. And once again, I think it strengthens that parent-child relationship because the parent is showing the trust that they have in their kid to give them these new responsibilities. So overall, I think that this could be a very positive thing for churches to help instill in families to do with their kids.